Tell me about a complicated man. Muse, tell me how he wandered and was lost when he had wrecked the holy town of Troy, and where he went and who he met, the pain he suffered in the storms at sea, and how he worked to save his life and bring his men back home. He failed to keep them safe. Poor fools. They ate the sun god's cattle, and the god kept them from home. Now, goddess, child of Zeus, tell the old story for our modern times. Find the beginning. All the other Greeks who had survived the brutal sack of Troy sailed safely home to their own wives, except this man alone. Calypso, a great goddess, had trapped him in her cave. She wanted him to be her husband. When the year rolled round in which the gods decreed he should go home to Ithaca, his troubles still went on. The man was friendless. All the gods took pity, except Poseidon's anger never ended until Odysseus was back at home. But now the distant Ethiopians, who live between the sunset and the dawn, were worshipping the sea god with a feast. 100 cattle and 100 rams. There sat the god, delighting in his banquet. The other gods were gathered on Olympus, in Father Zeus's palace. He was thinking of fine, well-born Aegisthus, who was killed by Agamemnon's famous son, Orestes. He told the deathless gods, "This is absurd, that mortals blame the gods. They say we cause their suffering, but they themselves increase it by folly." So Aegisthus overstepped. He took the legal wife of Agamemnon, then killed the husband when he came back home, although he knew that it would doom them all. We gods had warned Aegisthus. We sent down perceptive Hermes, who flashed into sight and told him not to murder Agamemnon or court his wife. Orestes would grow up and come back to his home to take revenge. Aegisthus would not hear that good advice, but now his dead has paid all debts. Athena looked at him steadily and answered, "Father, he did deserve to die. Bring that to all who act like him. But I am agonizing about Odysseus and his bad luck. For too long he has suffered with no friends. Sea all around him, sea on every side, out on an island where a goddess lives, daughter of fearful Atlas, who holds up the pillars of the sea and knows its depths. Those pillars keep the heaven and earth apart. His daughter holds that poor unhappy man and tries beguiling him with gentle words to cease all thoughts of Ithaca. But he longs to see even just the smoke that rises from his own homeland, and he wants to die." "You do not even care, Olympian. Remember how he sacrificed to you on the broad plain of Troy beside his ships? So why do you dismiss Odysseus?" "Daughter," the cloud god said, "you must be joking, since how could I forget Odysseus? He is more sensible than other humans and makes more sacrifices to the gods. But Lord Poseidon rages unrelenting because Odysseus destroyed the eye of godlike Polyphemus, his own son, the strongest of the Cyclops, whose mother, Tusa, is a sea nymph, child of Paucus, the sea king, and she lay beside Poseidon inside a hollow cave. So now Poseidon prevents Odysseus from reaching home, but does not kill him. Come then, we must plan. How can he get back home? Poseidon must give up his anger, since he cannot fight alone against the will of all the gods." Athena's eyes lit up, and she replied, "Great Father, if the blessed gods at last will let Odysseus return back home, then hurry. We must send our messenger, Hermes, the giant slayer. He must swoop down to Ogygia right away and tell the beautiful Calypso we have formed a firm decision that Odysseus has waited long enough. He must go home. And I will go to Ithaca to rouse the courage of his son and make him call a meeting and speak out against the suitors who kill his flocks of sheep and long-horned cattle unstoppably. Then I will send him off to Pylos and to Sparta to seek news about his father's journey home and gain a noble reputation for himself." With that, she tied her sandals at her feet, the marvelous golden sandals that she wears to travel sea and land as fast as wind. She took the heavy bronze-tipped spear she uses to tame the ranks of warriors with whom she is enraged. Then from the mountain down she sped to Ithaca and stopped outside Odysseus' court, bronze spear in hand. She looked like Mentis now, the Taphian leader, a guest friend. There she found the lordly suitors sitting on hides, they had killed the cows themselves, and playing checkers. Quick, attentive house slaves were waiting on them. Some were mixing wine with water in the bowls, and others brought the tables out and wiped them off with sponges, and others carved up heaping plates of meat. Telemachus was sitting with them, feeling dejected. In his mind he saw his father coming from somewhere, scattering the suitors and gaining back his honor and control of all his property. With this in mind, he was the first to see Athena there. He disapproved of leaving strangers stranded, so he went straight to meet her at the gate and shook her hand and took her spear of bronze and let his words fly out to her. "Good evening, stranger, and welcome. Be our guest. Come share our dinner, and then tell us what you need."